That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Jacob's Ladder, a remake of the 1998 Adrian Lyne film from David M. Rosenthal, which releases in U.S. theaters August 23rd.
So I have seen the original.
Yeah, you have.
I do remember it somewhat. You have a much more distinct memory of it.
Yeah, it's a favorite of mine as a kid, which I was obviously much more impressionable when I saw it. I remember there are scenes from the Adrian Lyne film emblazoned in my mind, but I showed it to you.
I also recall that. I mean, I do recall it being visually striking, and much more gripping.
Oh yeah, it's much more unsettling and distressing.
Sure.
And yeah, we watched it. This is probably like 2015, 2016 in Echo Park.
Okay.
That's the last time you saw it. But
okay, Geostamp. So this film is not like a shot-for-shot remake.
No, there are significant
the story is
changes.
Adjusted,
it's
which I kind of like the adjustment to the story. So I think I actually like this story better.
Well, it's modernized.
Yes,
but I can't imagine because the original is about a Vietnam veteran, which it would have been unwise to do that. It should have been contemporized.
Yes. So, yes, I actually like this story more than what I recall from the previous one. However, this one does have issues. But the basic story is Jacob, played by Michael Ealy, returns from being deployed. I'm assuming in like Afghanistan or somewhere.
Iraq.
Or Iraq.
Yeah.
He returns and he's suffering from like PTSD. So he's been given a drug called HDA, which is causing side effects like hallucinations. In the end of the movie, he explains that the drug is like, it's not erasing memories, it's replacing them. So...
But come to he's a surgeon, but he doesn't. It starts out with about his missing brother.
Is he a surgeon, or does he
imagine that he is?
He imagines.
We are introduced to him as a surgeon, and he's that works at the VA, and he's working with veterans that are coming in suffering from these severe symptoms, and they are all taking this drug.
Well, no, we're introduced to him as a trauma surgeon out, like deployed, and he works on a soldier who's been injured, when he suddenly realizes that it's his brother, played by Jesse Williams, my spirit animal.
Whose name is Isaac.
And then the story just unravels from there. So then we understand that Jacob is the surgeon with the wife and the child and is experiencing like hallucinations. He's afraid that someone's following him. His brother, Isaac,
he thinks dead,
but
this man, played by your favorite Joseph Sikora, as a deranged.
Once again, Michael Ealy, Joseph Sikora, teamed up again.
There are other connections. We'll talk about it. So he said, your brother's alive, and he's living below the subway system in Atlanta. That's another distinction too. Is the first film is set in Vietnam, but also New York, and the grittiness of New York, captured that from the 1990s. And here it's a very indistinct Atlanta.
It feels very generic.
Yeah.
It could be anywhere, yeah.
Anyway, so he actually goes rooting around Michael Ealy in Atlanta's subterranean subway systems and finds Jesse Williams and brings him back home. And then...
It sort of like the third act is them running from bad guys. Ultimately, we realize that the roles are reversed. The drug has caused him to think that he is his brother.
Yes.
So really, Isaac, Jesse Williams, is the surgeon
and
is married
to Nicole
with a
Beharie.
child.
Yeah.
And the very end of the film is Jacob going to see the pharmacist, who's played by an Adam Scott lookalike.
Guy Burnet, who is terrible. It ruins every scene.
That character does. I think I would like that actor. Like, he seems like he could do a good job in something else. But yeah, I would say that that character is probably the worst part of the film.
Yeah.
He goes to him to get more of the drug, and there's a confrontation, and Jacob ends up getting shot and pushing the pharmacist out of like a 5th-story window or something, and they both die. So... the good of this film, I think, is the story. I do like the updated story. I think it was well done. For like a remake, it seems appropriate. I think had it been made differently / better, it would be very good. I did like the story better. I do think the performances from Jesse Williams and even Michael Ealy, because we talked about The Intruder.
Michael Ealy is quite good in this, and I think actually for me the best scene of the film is his realization that he is not who he thinks he is. And
Yes.
I think he does a very
so the performances from Michael Ealy and Jesse Williams are good. I also like the actor who played Jacob's psychiatrist.
Okay. Yeah, he's good.
There were some cool shots.
Yeah, Nicole Beharie was okay too.
I didn't think... Actually, yeah, she was fine. Yeah. She was definitely better.
I think her best scene is when she's confronted by Michael Ealy about, there was an intruder in the house. And she's like, what house? This house?
Yeah.
But yeah, she's fine in it. She doesn't have much of a role.
Joseph Sikora, is that his name?
Yeah.
I thought he was distracting. That character looked crazy.
He looked crazy.
And not in a good, crazy way.
But he always kind of looks distracting. I think that's the problem with him.
Yeah.
So this was directed by David M. Rosenthal, who I think in the earlier part of the decade was shaping up to be kind of a notable American indie filmmaker who did Janie Jones and a Sam Rockwell film liked called The Single Shot. And then he's kind of segued into other things. He did The Perfect Guy with Sanaa Lathan and Michael Ealy and Morris Chestnut.
Oh.
So he must have gotten along with Michael Ealy to do this. This film has been in the can for a while. I was looking... because I seem to recall some time ago, there were test screening audiences last August in 2018 for this. So I think they've been showing it to people because the original...
And reworking it.
And it feels it, especially the end. And, I don't know, people probably are no longer familiar with the original film.
So I was going to say, if you don't know the original film and you watch this one, the story's okay. I think it's engaging enough. I just think it looks a little cheap. Like, if I saw this in a theater, I would definitely feel like this could have been something I would have picked up at Redbox instead.
In fact, it reminded me more of even more than the original Jacob's Ladder, it feels like this Dito Montiel film starring Shia LaBeouf from 2015 called Man Down, which also suffered from similar issues to this, the Rosenthal remake. But about that, like these PTSD suffering veterans that are navigating, because Shia LaBeouf's in a post-apocalyptic landscape that is obviously not real, you come to find, because he's suffering from these hallucinations.
This film is under 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It feels very, rushed.
It does.
And you know me, I don't need to sit anywhere longer than I have to, and I don't want this movie to be any longer than it was, but it did feel rushed.
It keeps some textures from the original, like triggers of the urban environment, like the subway system has there's a lot of the textures from the first film that it keeps in that.
There were some visuals of the people following him or the entities following him that looked like they were trying to be horrific.
Mm-hmm. And it didn't.
That I thought looked a little cheesy.
Because in the original Jacob's Ladder, those visions that he sees are mostly faceless, or they're like faces covered by some kind of tarp or plastic, which are much more terrifying.
Also, in the original, it's Susan Sarandon's ex, right?
Tim Robbins.
Tim Robbins.
Yeah. And Elizabeth Pena, who Adrian Lyne, who directed Fatal Attraction, of course, struggled to get Elizabeth Pena cast in that because the studio wanted Julia Roberts, because Elizabeth Pena, rest in peace, from Batteries Not Included. But I don't know. That I am in love with the original.
Well, I was going to say, I think, from what I recall of the original, Tim Robbins just, I think his sort of he was so unsettled and paranoid, and Michael Ealy's performance was not.
Well, Tim Robbins was playing a blue-collar character. I don't remember his occupation, but I remember him riding the subway in those overalls and reading fucking Camus. But, as a surgeon, he has all this access to things that don't seem to make sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't...
But the distress level is different, and I think it matters.
It does matter.
And the original screenplay was written by Bruce Joel Rubin, who he won an Oscar that same year for writing Ghost.
Oh. Well, for oftentimes movies like this, like remakes of popular films or critically acclaimed films, seem unnecessary. I actually don't feel like this is unnecessary. I think it's kind of cool to see, the adjustment to the story, to see a brown cast.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there are some very good performances in the film. So it's worth a watch, I guess, especially if you haven't seen the original.
Yeah,
you probably won't be so hard on it.
I already knew I wasn't going to live up to what I wanted it to.
And considering we just recently talked about The Intruder with Michael Ealy and Joseph Sikora.
It's a lot better than that.
It's much better, so I'm happy to see that Michael Ealy got he got his groove back.
But, the plot mechanisms, it's very Wizard of Oz-ish in that this dream world is happening populated by people from the real world of the protagonist.
Sure.
I hadn't thought of that before watching the original.
Okay.
But.
Yeah, the story itself is compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was lensed by Pedro Luca, who lensed the cinematographer on Don't Breathe.
Which I liked.
And Girl in the Spider's Web.
Don't remember.
I didn't
see that. Yeah, the movie looks okay. It does look a little low budget.
It does, and it's usually in those sequences. Like he has that sex scene with the nurse that is actually a crackhead prostitute, where she has the angel wings or whatever.
Yeah,
because there's the Jacob's ladder is a biblical reference because Jacob in the Bible, it's a stairway to heaven. There's also a flower named for that.
Okay.
And Isaac, Jesse Williams' character, who's not in the original, Isaac from the Bible is actually Jacob's father, which is kind of interesting because he was the creation of the 12 tribes of whatever. Anyway, that's not mythology that I'm that well versed in.
Well, if you're a Christian, you might like this movie.
I don't know about that, but
yeah, I would give it 2 out of 5 stars. 2
out of 5 is fair. I liked the idea. I've been very curious to see this for several years now since it's been announced. But because they announced this after The Perfect Guy was 2015, and Rosenthal and Ealy, they were talking about working on that after that.
Oh, okay. Well, it's done. They did it.
Yeah, here it is.
Is that all you have?
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.